For 6 months, I couldn't sleep. With insomnia, nothing's real.
I say stop being perfect. I say...
What's going on, guys? You guys are tuning to the Watch Podcast with your host, owner operator Eric Huggins. Nice Watch Patrol. We are the light in the dark. Psalm 139:12. And today, what's in your head? Mental health. Let's go.
And Ronnie, do you have any history of depression or psychosis or anything like that?
Yeah, but nothing really worth mentioning. Just a little bipolar disorder, not a big deal.
I don't know what's happening to me, Dennis. I feel like I'm losing it. A change is coming. I used to think I was the only thing between the light and the darkness.
What's going on, guys? You guys are tuning to the Watch Podcast. Today, we're on a sensitive subject today.
Emotional,
It is very sensitive, and sometimes we don't talk about it enough. You know, we don't mention it. We don't talk about it. So sometimes it's a cultural thing where it's just mental health is just it's not in our family. We don't talk about it. You know, but mental health has been around for forever. And the U.S. Congress decided to make May Mental Health Month back in 1949. And when you were growing up as a kid, I'm an 80s kid, so I didn't hear of mental health until I was in my down 30s. Mental health was just never a thing, you know? And I think over the last decade, they started to make mental health become an apparent thing where people to make it more recognizable. I think that, you know, I mean, you guys got a hot dog day, you guys got donut day, hamburger day. Why not mental health month? Okay. And it's to recognize mental health. You know, I think a lot of times in life, we just kind of hide behind it. You know, we just, I had a bad day. You know, someone said something mean to me today and it bothered me for like a day, but I got over it. Move on with life, right? But then, it starts to trickle, you know, over time. So you know that's the reason why I'm bringing this up, is because it's to bring obviously awareness, and you maybe share a couple of my stories, and also a lot of this is going to be directed towards private security. I think in the private sector, we don't realize that we are constantly being ridiculed on a daily basis, a monthly basis, a yearly basis, whatever. Often we're constantly being targeted. So, but before we get into that, I want to help you guys understand mental health. You know, what is mental health and what is it? And mental health is, it refers to how we think and how we feel and our ability to cope with ups and downs. And you know, I guess that would be like a mental health in a nutshell. Now there's you know, where I'm like trying to figure out where do I start from here. There's private security is not really an industry where mental health is kind of like recognized. You know, there's other you know, obviously there's other jobs out there, there's other occupations out there where mental health is like a thing. Okay, so I don't want to go into private security right now. I think the best thing to do is to help some of you guys understand the mental health and how it works, and who's you know, who are the top 10 industries that suffer from mental health, where it, you know, a lot of times it leads to suicide. Now today, if you guys didn't notice, I'm actually wearing my shirt. Okay, my shirt says "Stay." And tomorrow needs you. And it is a suicide prevention shirt. You know, I've struggled, I mean, I think we've all had in one point in time where we struggled with suicide, where we thought, our life was just kind of over, or we're not doing anything for the world, and we just kind of we just don't feel good about ourselves. And then, we get out of that dang little hump. Most of us get out of that hump, and we start living again. And sometimes we have some really, really close people to us that help us change our minds. So, just shout out, to those that have experienced, suicide, or maybe they've, a family member has committed suicide, or maybe they're, maybe at times they've contemplated suicide. So suicide, and obviously it's gonna merge with mental health. Okay. I love my industry that I'm in. I love doing private security. I love the private sector. I love seeing it grow, and I get so excited to see the future of private security. But at times, there are times where I'm just like, man, I don't know where we're going with this. People don't treat us right. People don't take it seriously, and this, just kind of everything. We kind of get bummed out sometimes. When there's a win, there's also a loss. So, and it was so, I was going through the internet and I was looking, and I was like, see, okay, well, where is private security, mental health for private security? Where is it at? Are we the top 5? Are we the top 10? Are we the first one in there? And no, we're not. I was doing research all week looking for just one section where it says private security, private sector, and nothing in that category came up. So I'm gonna give you guys the top 10, suicide, mental health related jobs that affects your mental health and also leads to high suicide rates. And the number one is going to be medical doctors. Go figure, right? You're working with families on a daily basis. You work long hours. You're away from your family, and you go through all these years of schooling, and it just kind of really just gets on you, just drains on you. Dentists. That one surprised me. Dentists is another high mental health, had high suicide rates and mental health issues attached to it for dentists. And I thought to myself, all they're doing is playing with teeth. But what I was doing some more research, I learned that they were they're perfectionists, and they like to make things perfect. And when things aren't perfect, it starts to weigh into their life until they start to feel unhappy. They start to feel sad. And that's then there goes suicide. Police officers, go figure, right? High stress job, deal with a lot of things. They deal with people that have mental health issues. They deal with crime. They deal with murders. I mean, they deal with it all. And in my experience working with other law enforcement officers and seeing law enforcement officers, throughout my life, the divorce rate's also high too. They work odd hours. They're never really home. When they do get home, they're sleeping, and their sleep patterns are off. So it can affect your mental health, because then you come into work fatigued, you're tired all the time, just like, oh God, I don't want to be here today. I got to write a report on this. Oh God, shoot. Yeah. So, I expected, police officers to be number one. But I'm pretty sure it's the numbers are going to continue to rise over the years. It's getting really bad. Veterinarians have a high suicide and high mental health crisis rate. Financial services, real estate agents, electricians, lawyers, farmers, and pharmacists. Now those are relatable. I could see mental health being a huge issue in real estate and lawyers and even pharmacists, electricians. Yeah, I would say so. In financial services. So there's a nice little rate of jobs there, but also EMTs. EMTs see a lot. And so EMTs has become a thing where, now they're down there dealing with mental health. One EMTs in the medical field are probably the lowest paid individuals in that medical field. EMT workers. And so when you're dealing with bills, you're dealing with finances. It really does something to you, mentally. And sometimes you feel like you work all this time and do all this and that, and you realize like, gosh dang, where did my time go? And that could really, really weigh down on someone's mental health. It's mental health is a very tricky thing, and I think a lot of times we ignore it. And when I started working security, I didn't know. No one ever tells you the type of stuff that you're going to be dealing with. They just tell you that your job is to observe and report, right? Just observe, report. If you see anything weird, call the police. That's my first security job working for Transwest. Sorry. They would just say, if you see anything irregular, just call the police. And I thought to myself, why would I want to call the police when I can try to mitigate some of these things and maybe handle it myself, I'm not wasting a phone call. I tell everybody this. I said, your phone calls to law enforcement is like a lifeline. If you keep calling, then I can show up. All right. So that's why I don't call too often when it comes to law enforcement. I try to use them sparingly and not be that guy that just calls them every time I hear a little bump in the night. Okay. Many people over the last decade have become aware of mental health. Like I was saying before, it became a mental health month in May in 1949. And now we're starting to really, really just, really trying to just soak it all in and say, oh yeah, hey, I got mental health problems. All right, guys, dang it, I need help. In this past weekend, I went to All Men's Mental Health Day, and I learned a lot about the individuals that were in there. I saw some young guys, some young kids in there, 16, 17-year-old kids. And I looked at them, I'm like, man, God bless them. And it really, I felt, when I was listening to these stories of all the stuff they've gone through, I was like, man, it hurts when you hear about it, and just to see that you have these grown, strong men becoming vulnerable in a place where usually we can never really express ourselves as men. And I just thought that was just amazing. I was just glad I'm glad I made it. I got a damn parking ticket, $30. But you know what? $30, my mental health? Well, yeah, worth it. But yeah, man, it's just really, I wish I would have said more. I wish I would have said something in there. Maybe I would have blessed somebody by some of my testimonials. But I was just kind of in awe, where I would just listen to everybody else's story, and I just in myself, I'm over there praying for him. I'm like, God, man, God bless him. God take care of him, watch over his family. Take control of his mind. I mean, I was all over it, man. I was just looking at everyone that looked like they had a lot of stuff going on, a lot of baggage they're carrying. I mean, I carry a lot of baggage too, but I think this time was like, my thing was like, I wanted to observe and I wanted to see everything that was going on, and I just didn't want to take away from it, But anyway, moving on with life. Security is one of those jobs that was least researched. One of the least researched industries when it came to mental health. And the sucky part is it leaves the security professionals and those that work in the private sector, it leaves us vulnerable. Okay, we feel like there's no outlet for us, and we can't really express ourselves, and we don't know how we're feeling when we have that knucklehead that called us, a derogatory name for the 20th time in a damn day. We don't know how to express ourselves. We just say, that guy was a jerk. Get sucked. That guy, whatever. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just like you just kind of just throw it out the way. It's like it's part of the job. Yeah, I'm a cop. But they did a research. They did research on security. And I'll share some of those numbers with you. But they said that there's 20 million private security officers worldwide. And working private security, we're the frontline workers. I don't care if no one wants to recognize that we're that. I don't care if no one says that we're first responders, whatever. They all could suck it easy. But we are the first point of contact for any situation. Okay? When someone walks into a building, they will be greeted by security. When someone walks into a secure location, they're not going to be greeted by police officers. They're not going to be greeted by nurses or doctors. They're going to be greeted by private security officers. And one of the things that we have to factor in is that we deal with a very, very, very difficult clientele. We deal with people that, I don't know how many times you guys have been verbally abused in life. I mean, working as a security officer. But they said that research shows that 64.6% of the security officers experience verbal abuse at least once a month.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, right. Talk about every day. But on average, we experience mental health. We get verbally abused once a month. 64% of the security guards out there. And it doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how resilient you are. It doesn't matter how professional you are. At the end of the day, your experiences at work are going to make you vulnerable, to mental health problems. If you, so we look at it as as an example. If you get someone tapping on you, it's like whatever. Like, and when you first initially encounter it, someone tapping on you, you're like, yeah, whatever, dude. And then you say, hey, and then after that, after that, you kind of get tired of it. You say, hey, can you stop, please? And they're still poking at you, trying to get you to react. And then you finally react and you blow up. That's how it is when you guys work private security and someone tells you every other day or once a month that you suck. Or you're Craig and Day-Day. You're Terminator. You're RoboCop.
Everything people think. What are you trained to do? Nothing.
That weighs down on you eventually. And working in private security, we work long work hours. Sometimes we're working 16-hour days. Sometimes we're working 12-hour days. Sometimes we're working, we're always working. We have very, very limited social life. So now we can't be that interactive person because we're constantly at work. We're interacting with people that we don't want to interact with most of the time. And then we have to factor in low wages.
Emotional damage.
You know, when I first started my my venture in private security, I was told that private security sucks at paying. Like it's a sucky job to do. You don't get paid a whole lot, and I didn't realize that to be true. I just figured if I just keep grinding and keep working towards a goal, that I will eventually get paid a decent amount of money. Well, guess what, guys? I was getting paid $6.50 at my first job. Now, I think it was acceptable then, but when you're getting your paychecks every couple weeks and $300, $400, and you worked like every day as much as you could, it kind of does something to you, So yeah, that's one thing I didn't like about working that particular job. And the pay's increased, and I think right now in the state of California, pay is probably $16 an hour as a minimum wage, I believe. So, or it's maybe still $15.50. But when we look at $16 an hour, maybe $16 an hour, maybe 10 years ago would have been great. And now, unfortunately, we're getting paid $16 an hour, but now inflation has occurred, and now mentally, it kind of jacks us up a little bit. And there's, like I said, guys, there's not a whole lot of information out there for security guards when it comes to their mental health. They just kind of ignore it and say, just a security guard, he'll be all right. It's just, he's fine. It's not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal. It is a big deal. We're not. No one's really paying attention to our industry. No one's really looking at it and saying maybe private security we may need to look at private security a little bit more often. I mean, if you guys go on YouTube, you guys go on the internet, you guys go on TikTok or whatever, you guys always see a security guard acting out of scope of a job. You see a security guard just wailing at somebody, and you're like, dude, daddy, chill.
Wait, daddy, chill.
So they did a research, of security guards. They selected 300 security guards who had no history of physical, mental health problems, no substance abuse or criminal activity. The guards were working across various sectors, including education, commercial, healthcare, and financial institutions. Now, after conducting several tests on these guards, they found that approximately 47% suffered from significant antisocial tendencies. And when you see security guards out there, you could probably concur with that. Yeah, they do seem they do look a little antisocial. 36% had borderline personality disorder. And 48% suffered from depression. And yeah, it sucks. And these numbers are definitely a significant risk to the private security guards out there that are suffering from depression. And because when they're suffering from depression, they become physically aggressive towards the public. So now you once had a guard that was a nice kid, enjoyed, working security. You guys decide to move him over to somewhere place where he has a little more traction, a little more dealing with more people. And sometimes that can be that can counteract, and it can create a depression in that security guard where when he was a nice guy, he'd say hi to everybody. Now he becomes depressed, and now he becomes physically aggressive towards the patrons or the persons that he's seen, because he's that first point of contact. Now he's being a complete jerk. And there's a very, very high risk of guards with antisocial tendencies becoming physically and verbally aggressive and angry and hostile. Now, how many security guards do you see out there becoming, very hostile and angry towards people? And sometimes it's that antisocial tendency. Working somewhere, and by yourself for so long, it creates that. And there's a very, very high amount of guards suffering from borderline personality disorder and becoming verbally aggressive and angry and hostile. So there's a lot of there's a lot of things riding on this, and you see all these numbers, you see how many private security guards are out there in the world. You just like, gosh, dang, it's a lot of guards, and it makes you wonder why society hasn't looked at the private sector and says, wow, these guys are really, really getting into it. I don't know how many times I've been called the N-word while working in the private sector. I think working in the private sector, I've been called the N-word more times than I can possibly count. I've been called Craig. I've been called Day-Day. I've been called Rent-A-Cop. I've been called Top Flight Security of the World. I've been called RoboCop. I've been called a lot of things working in the private sector. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been called certain names when you guys were working out there on the field. They might have called you Paul Blart. It's just the list can continue to go on. And when you hear it enough, it starts to do something to you a little bit.
Emotional damage.
And it's sad when you see it. And when I think about mental health, I think about finding a way, like finding a healthy way of handling your mental health, your mental illness, or maybe finding ways of finding constructive ways of doing things so that your mind, keep your mind clear. Now, one of the few things that I do is I go to the gym. I haven't been in the gym in a couple of weeks because of work, but the gym, going to the gym in the morning, or going to the gym before your shift, get a nice good workout, get a nice good pump in there. That's really going to help you increase your those levels. Where you're feeling pretty good about yourself. You're feeling all right, cool. I'm getting fit. So we have to find things outside of our job that makes us happy. As you can see, I'm doing a podcast. All right, it makes me happy. I like being able to talk. I like being able to educate people out there in how private security works. I like that. I enjoy it, and so because I enjoy it, it's my outlet. And so when I have an outlet, I can sit here and talk, and I can kind of get my frustrations out there. But and obviously it just helps out a lot. Going for a walk, going for a jog, getting yourself out of there, finding times to spend time with your family, finding time to spend time with your friends, to where you're still you're there. You're still there. You're still in line. And then when you guys when we tend to get out of alignment, then we have to go back in ourselves and figure, okay, what did I do differently this week that I didn't do last week? Oh, I didn't go to the gym all last week. Wow. I should probably go to the gym this week so I can feel better. So I can feel that, so I get that euphoric feeling like, gosh, okay, yeah, I feel pretty good. I got a little pump going on right now. I feel like I lost like 3 pounds. I'm awesome. And that's gonna increase your that's gonna increase your endorphins. We have to see what makes us happy. If we're stuck at work all day, 12-hour days, and we go home, we sleep all day, then we go back to work, it's no life to live for anybody. And I can be the first one to say that because there's times where I own a private security company, all right? And I work a lot. Not only do I just work shift work, but I also work the back end work too. And it's very, very stressful for me. Stressful to the point where it mentally drains me. And so I have to find other ways and other avenues to kind of get that steam out. I'll go kickboxing. I'll go sparring, and I get that aggression out of me. It's like, God, get it out of here. But just finding healthy activities to do. Go to the movies, hanging out. If you guys got kids, hang out with your kids more. And I'll take me and my son. We'll go to the park. We'll throw football. We'll race each other and stuff like that. And that's just me being outdoors. and me just taking off my work equipment, taking off my duty belt, and just going out there and living life. I think that's what it's all about. I think, right? We're just really, mental health is just, it's such an important thing, in this life. And especially if you guys work the private sector, you guys work private security, mental health is important, and maintaining that healthy balance. And even sometimes, a lot of times we have this, we're always in the car, we're always patrolling, we're always by ourselves. How can we find ways of being, not feeling like, oh, we're always alone all the time? Sometimes I say, hey, put an AirPod in, listen to an audiobook, depending on what kind of work you're doing. But listen to an audiobook, not too loud, because you're still able to hear everything outside. You're still doing your job, but listen to an audiobook to just kind of keep your mind going. I think that, watching TikTok and watching Facebook and looking at other people's depressive posts on their Facebook makes me even depressed too. So I don't want to be a part of that. I was like, hey, I'm already going through mental health issues right now. All right. I don't need to listen to yours. But finding healthy ways of doing things, that's what's going to help, you in your journey in maintaining a healthy lifestyle. I even encourage people that if you've gone through a traumatic event while you're at work, that you go seek some help. Okay. That you find someone, a professional, to talk about it. Say, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling okay. All right. I got shot. Me personally, I got shot. And I didn't talk to anybody. I drank, and I just kept drinking. And that's where I knew my mental health was at stake. It took me to get a DUI to make some changes. And it's really hard for me to admit stuff like that because, people might think that I'm perfect. I'm just kidding. But some people look at myself, or some people may look at people and say, oh man, their life looks so put together. And realistically, our lives are falling apart. The second you looked at us, like, my life was already falling apart. All right, dude, why are we sitting here having a conversation? Why are you looking at me thinking my life is great? My life sucks. I'm just kidding. But sometimes we get a little hard on ourselves, and we say, this stupid job, this low paying job, this is now whatever. So like I said, going back is I wanted to encourage you guys that if you guys cannot get an outlet, go get some help. If you guys have my number, you guys can call me. I'll talk to you. We'll have a conversation. We'll figure it all out together. But I just, I hate to see negative comments on people's Facebooks, or like, oh, my life sucks, or this and that. Because they're experiencing something, something that's inside of themselves that makes them feel worthless or makes them feel less than. And those are the kind of people I like to target out to and say, hey man, what's going on? Oh, nothing, And my thing is to always encourage everyone that if you don't feel comfortable talking to anybody, that you find professionals to get some help with. And if you don't feel like doing any of that, and maybe it's not your time right now, I suggest finding finding new habits, and doing things. Don't sit at home and don't sit there and eat yourself to death. Don't sit there and just lay in your bed and just watch Game of Thrones all 6 seasons of Game of Thrones. Sounds like me. But find other healthy ways of handling things. And that's going to make you feel better. And I get that we work these really, really crazy work schedules. Okay. I've been working nights for like the last 11 years. And let me tell you this, I don't ever get used to working nights. because I'm still tired all damn day. And then I have to just work, sleep for a couple hours, get up and do it all over again. So yeah, mentally, to me, like, I'm like, dude, this sucks. Yeah. I hate working nights. I do hate working nights. I love it, but then I hate it at the same time. If that makes sense. So, so I don't know where you guys are at in your guys' journey in private security. And maybe you guys experienced a, something where someone said something pretty nasty to you. And you're still kind of trying to just register it all in and soak it all in and see how did that happen. And my best advice for you guys is to just don't let it go. Don't just wipe it under the rug and say, whatever, because it's going to resurface. It's going to resurface and manifest itself in different ways that, you didn't even think twice of thinking. You don't want to be that. You don't want to become that aggressive security guard that's out there. So I just suggest you guys find a healthy balance in life to where either you guys go to the gym in the morning, you pick up a hobby. I'm on a podcast right now. It's my hobby. I'm doing this. I went to the gym earlier today and went to kickboxing and went to jiu-jitsu. And then I made it over here. So as you can say, I had a pretty productive day today. And I can't take that away from the experience because my thing is consistency. I just got to keep doing it. Okay. I can't just do it today, go to the gym today and not go to the gym for the next 4 or 5 days. And finding time, we got to make time, your mental health is important, and I'll tell you guys this, I'll say it again, stay. Okay. Stay. And I just tell this to people, don't make decisions. Don't turn solutions into temporary problems. Dang it. Is that the right way? God, I can't remember. And if you guys ever experience people, in your life, family, friends that committed suicide, you always look at them like, gosh, man, they would have been some really cool people, if they would have just stuck around a little longer. So my encouragement to you guys is stay. All right. I hope this was informative to you guys. I hope a lot of it made sense. I've been working this job for a long time, and I deal with a lot of, you guys work private security. We get it all the time. Oh, you're not doing your job. Oh, you suck. You're worthless. And maybe when you're younger, your mom told you you're worthless, and then you forgot all about it, and it started to resurface when you got older because you had that same lady that kind of resembled your mom, and she called you worthless too, and now it triggers you. So, in order for you guys to prevent that from happening, is to find other outlets outside of work. Don't be too consumed with work. Maintain a work-life balance for you, your friends, your family. So that way you're not constantly working every single day and you're putting yourself in this unhealthy way of doing things. So guys, I hope this was informative for you guys, and I hope some of it made sense. If you guys have any questions or concerns, you guys can go and follow me on Night's Watch Patrol. Give me a ring. We have our links on there if you guys want to check it out, if you guys happen to give a damn. And if you guys, check out our webpage, www.nightswatchpatrol. And let me know what you guys think. And man, it's been real here, guys. A lot of stuff going on. I am going to touch on the 2 security guards that were involved in a fatal shooting of a person with a knife at the Metro in LA. But we're going to wait a couple days. I'm going to get this all squared away, and then we're going to talk about it. Because I think that we need to talk about it. I was listening to some things in there, and some things in there that didn't make sense to me. And so now I'm kind of one now it's got my mind going, because working in private security for a long time, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. So, like I said, guys, I want you guys to love God, love each other. Let's go change the world!
Watching you,